we're gonna.
This meeting is being recorded.
There we go. We're recording the meeting.
I remembered.
Yep, remembered. All right. So we're going to have a question and answer period at the end after we go through things. And if there's a special question that you think might pertain to yourself, you can go ahead and put that in there. And we wouldn't necessarily address it to the whole group, but you're sure welcome to do that. And of course, there's no stupid questions, especially for first-time RAGBRAIers, because you can help other people by asking those questions. So I'm going to turn the stage over to, I'm going to say, first of all, Chrissy Seaholm is my sister, and she has done the RAGBRAI in Style portion of the charter for several years since its inception, and I have asked her to do a lot of crazy things. And Kyle has been a long time friend, employee. I don't even know. You've got a lot of roles that we've been. Kyle started when he was 13, 14 years old, and now has a job in the bicycle industry, and he does come back to do our charter director. So Kyle, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, sounds good. So first up is, Craig went over who we are, and then next up, what we're going to cover in this, shipping your bike, packing your bags, first day check-in, a typical day on RAGBRAI, and then getting home at the end of the week. So we will get right into that. If you are shipping your bike to us, please ship it to Bikes To You, and please make sure that it arrives by Tuesday, July 19th. The reason that we ask for that is that FedEx and UPS do not consider your bike to be lost until it has been gone for, 5 days?
I think it was 3 days, yeah.
3 days? Okay. So we need time for them to be able to say, yes, it is lost, and then hopefully they find it. Also, we inspect the boxes for damage. We will open the box, we'll look at the bike, make sure it looks like it's in good shape, because strange things happen. It's not common, but it does. So we are going to wait to put the bikes together that come shipped to us until we get to Sergeant Bluff. But we're going to at least inspect them to make sure there's nothing glaringly wrong that's going to need parts, obviously, or anything like that. The picture in there, that was actually a bike that might have been from Giant that was shipped to us, and we got that many years ago. That is not common, but sometimes things get damaged, so we want to make sure we have time to remedy that before we get. I'd
like to add to this that it would be my professional opinion that you should have a bicycle shop, a knowledgeable bicycle shop, pack your bicycle if you're going to ship it through bike flights or UPS, FedEx, that way. So I would definitely recommend having a bike shop do it. They'll take the precautions to pack it carefully.
If you are shipping your bike home, High Country Shipping, I believe, is one of the shippers at the end of RAGBRAI. They have an option if you want to have your bike packed at the end of RAGBRAI. We will also do bike packing as well. However, that is for a fee, and it will not be until sometime the week after we get done with RAGBRAI. We're all exhausted at the end of this, so this is a marathon for all of us, and we will get the bikes packed up in a timely manner, but it's not going to be, it's not going to get packed up on Sunday. If we are doing the shipping, we will take it about a block away from Bikes to You is a local company called Total Choice Shipping. They take care of, getting the call tags and stuff like that for UPS and FedEx. We will do that, or you can ship us your, you can send us a call tag. Things like bike flights may be cheaper than having Total Choice do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you are shipping your bikes to us and you use bike flights, you can select a round trip option, I believe, as long as you're using the same addresses. And in that way, you can just put the labels right in with the bike when you ship it to us. And so we can pack those back up. Kyle, I'm going to interject one other quick thing. I did just talk to Greg Harper today, and Greg Harper with Harper Cycling and Fitness is going to be packing bicycles at the end of the week in Lansing again. And so that is also an option to have your bike packed and shipped right there from the river if you want to do it that way. We certainly don't fight anybody to pack bicycles. So, but you can carry on. I just thought I'd interject that.
If you are flying and you have a flying case, we can also help with the packing of those as well. How to pack. We advise if you are staying in a tent, in style, this does not pertain to you, that you pack all of your clothing in Ziploc bags. Tents are not tsunami proof. If you, history says that we will probably get at least one nasty rainstorm during the week, and inevitably people end up with a little bit of water in their tent. So if you have everything packed, if it's in Ziploc bags, you're not going to end up with wet clothing. It's really easy if you do each day packed in a different Ziploc bag. Then you just grab one Ziploc bag, okay, I've got a jersey, I've got a pair of shorts in here, and you put it on and you're good. So on our charter, we allow you to bring as many bags as you want. We just ask that they are less than 30 pounds a piece, because our staff we are picking up bags on a regular basis. We're moving them around in the truck. We're getting them out of the truck. And it's much easier on all of our staff if we can have 30 pounds or less. The other thing is that some of our campsites are going to be pretty long. We will have access, our semi baggage truck will be right up next to the campsite, but it might be on one end and you may have to carry your bags away. So it's just better to, pack reasonable weight bags so that it's easy for you to move it around the campsite if you do get in late and you have to carry it across there, and for our staff to move them. Christy or Craig, anything to add?
The 2 city blocks is what we've always tell folks: be able to carry your own stuff 2 city blocks. That usually helps people cut down on what they're bringing. So I don't know that we've had too many occasions when you've had to hoof your stuff that far, but it's just a good rule of thumb. So
yeah, we bring the kitchen sink so you don't have to.
Right.
Things to pack: your tent if you're not on InStyle or the tent service, sleeping pad. Again, if you're not in one of our tents, although our tent service, we provide a very thin foam pad. It's enough to make it so you're not laying directly on the ground, but you may want to bring something a little bit nicer. Some kind of a sleeping bag or blankets. Yes, it is Iowa. Yes, it will be the hottest week of the summer. It can still get kind of cold. It is surprising how, especially after a 90-degree day, if it drops to 58, it's chilly. So it is good. It's a good idea to bring something to sleep in. At least 3 pairs of shorts and jerseys. You can do some laundry midweek. Usually, a couple people tend to bring some wash tubs and they wash stuff and hang it on their tent midweek. Chair, if you're not on our tent service, we have a lot of people that will bring chairs and any nutritionals. There are going to be vendors along the route that will have nutritionals for sale, but this is going to again be a very rural ride, which we love it when we get to be in the more rural areas. Those towns do a great job of hosting, but sometimes some of the nutritionals that your Nunes or your Cliff products, sometimes those are a little bit harder to source in some of these smaller towns.
I'm going to jump in here. I drove the route with the RAGBRAI officials about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I know that I always sound like a doomsdayer when we get to this point in the week, and rural Iowa does often step up, but we are going through some very, very small towns this year. I just can't say it strongly enough. If you have any dietary restrictions or anything, you should probably try to make some accommodations for that. I definitely think if you're a chocolate chip Cliff Bar person, bring a box or 2 of those with you, because we're gonna be in some situations where there's a shortage of vendors, and as we're talking about that, and I apologize, I can't recall if it's later in the presentation, but we do provide water, but you probably ought to have at least 2 water bottles on your bike. If you do not, I would make arrangements to carry a small Camelback, especially on some of the longer days. So I just want to interject that. That's all I got for that screen.
Yeah, I will say, so my day job is I'm a sales rep in the bicycle industry, and last year, midweek, nearly every RAGBRAI vendor that has an account with me tried to order pickle juice, and we distributed all of the pickle juice that we had at the warehouse for the company I work for, and they sent me everything, and it was gone within half a day. So the next day when everybody tried to order more, I just had to say, there is none left. Like, there is no more pickle juice for RAGBRAI. So it is, things like that happen. It's good to bring a little bit with if you really want a specific thing. Things not to pack: computers, breakables. We, as our staff tries to be as careful as we can be while still being efficient with moving your bags around. But one of the things is that we have a semi that all the baggage goes in every day. And if your bag's on top of towards the top, there's not a lot of weight on it. But if your bag comes in and it gets set on the bottom, it could have several feet of other bags set on it. And so there's a lot of weight there. So we don't want to have any breakables that might, if your bag ends up on the bottom during transport, that would not be good. Deodorant, I am kidding on that one. Always have to throw something on this slide of, please bring this. Are there any other questions? They can be put in the chat. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't see any, so.
Chris, we can probably go on.
Okay. Oh.
How will we label our bags is one question. Sorry. Looks like Jim Ratcliffe has, how will we label our bags?
Historically, we just want your name, a contact information on your bag, and any bags, if there was a chance that they were going to be left in a town. If you had some, you could just add on to their Bikes to You charter onto your existing label. That would be great. One of the things that we do ask that you do is that we ask that you bring your bag to the into the trailer gate and set it there, so that you know that your bag will go will go onto the truck. Even if you have our tent service, we ask that you bring the bag to the truck. I briefly saw a question, and I apologize, it ran away from me there. One of the questions was, why put everything in Ziplocs if it's being transported? So there's always we do unload the bags mid afternoon. Now we're prudent about that. If there's an impending thunderstorm, we're not going to unload the bags until the last possible minute. We do have tents and tarps that we have put bags under, but there is the possibility that your bags are going to get wet at some point during the week, whether it's between getting unloaded and getting into your tent, or if it's an absolute downpour. My mind goes back to Sheldon, Iowa. We had a thunderstorm that moved through, and it literally knocked every tent down. People took shelter in the emergency shelter of the school, and I don't know that there were many tents that were still standing after that storm. So if you do pack those Ziplocs or your bag or your each day's clothes, they stay dry, and it's a lot more comfortable the next few days. Our
mile-an-hour straight line winds do a number on tents.
Yeah.
Craig, somebody's asking hard-sided bags. Okay.
Hard-sided bags are fine as long as they're under 30 pounds. We don't have an issue with that. I don't know that necessarily helps protect things, but it certainly couldn't hurt. The tent service, there's a question, the tent service, does it include a chair? Yes, it does. It's just a standard umbrella chair. Opportunity to wash clothes. So 3 years ago, we added the 5-gallon buckets with the plungers and the kit wash. And people did do laundry that way. That is certainly an option. And we also have had people just launder their kits in the shower as well, and then hang them to dry on your tent. At the start town, so I'm going to let Kyle. Can you see those questions, Kyle?
Yep, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Start town. I think I'll cover that in a couple of slides later. So I'll get to that one. Showers, bathroom, charging station. I'll get to that later in the presentation. Tent service includes setup and takedown. Yes, the tent service does include setup and takedown. You have to get your bag from the baggage truck and bring it back to the baggage truck, but we do set up and tear down the tent for you.
Will you have meals and snacks available? Will you have meals and snack availability? How close to the end towns? So a couple of years ago, we started providing each day to our regular charter service what we call salties. Sometimes when you get in at the end of the day, you just want to have a Gatorade or a Powerade, whatever. We include those, one per person each day. And then we have every day we have a different salties that we put out, and one day it might be pretzels, the next day it might be chips or what have you, but it's just a little something to kind of get you settled down to where you can get a shower, get things cleaned up, and go find a place to get a meal. The meals are provided by the overnight towns, and there's a plethora of options, usually between churches and vendors and what have you. And then the next question is Echo for charging stations.
We'll get to that.
I
Okay.
think they're just, asking on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So if you are flying into Des Moines, we will do a pickup. We'll be talking to those of you who are flying in. We'll get your flight information, and then we'll construct a pickup schedule based on when people are arriving. Depending on our drivers, when people are arriving, we may ask you to sit for a little while at the airport. But we will come up with a schedule when we get a little closer and have that stuff all nailed down.
Yeah, when we have everybody's itineraries, yes.
Yeah. There are hotels and bed and breakfasts in Grinnell. Now, if you do a Google map search on Grinnell, in the Grinnell area, it'll pop up a whole bunch of different ones that are good choices. We ask that everybody arrive that is, flying in or driving from any distance, that you arrive on Friday, because we are leaving. I think buses are rolling at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So Friday, the shop will be open until 8 p.m. For people to drop off their bikes and any baggage that they're not going to need. We will put the bikes on the semi truck that night. And if you do have a bag that you're not going to need at your hotel, you may drop it in the bike shop at that time. We will mark all of the bikes and all of the bags with some flaggers tape, so that we make sure that we get everything on the truck that needs to be on the truck. We do on Saturday, check-in will start at 6:45 and run till 7:45. If you left your bag in the bike shop, please make sure you grab your bag and put it on the bus. That way you know that you have your bag and that it didn't end up in some corner and it gets forgotten. So please grab it, put it on the bus. If you need a secure location to park, we will have one of those. We are working with the college to get a parking lot that we can leave vehicles in for the week. And campus security does send their security officer driving through there every once in a while.
I was going to say we might want to define secure.
Yeah.
There are no fenced in parking areas in Grinnell. We've never had a problem, and we'll have a location secured by RAGBRAI.
That's what that means. And like I said, the buses will leave at 8 a.m. Well, I guess bus. I think we're only doing one this year.
Yes.
So the bikes will all go on the semi-trailer to go over to Sergeant Bluff. And then when we come back from Lansing, they will also be on that same one. We put packing blankets over the top of all of the bikes. And ever since we switched to having doing this system, we really have reduced, we haven't really had any damage issues. Some people do choose, they want to have a little more extra protection on their bikes and choose to put piping insulation on there. That's totally fine if you want to do that. we see less and less of that, I think, every year, though. Like I said earlier, load your bags onto the charter bus that you ride. If we run out of room on the bus, we will figure out how to get your bags out there. We have extra room in other vehicles and such. And check in with our staff as you get on the bus. Somebody will be there checking you off the list. If you are joining us in Sergeant Bluff, I will send out map coordinates, an address of where we are staying in Sergeant Bluff, so that you're going to be able to get there. If you are joining us midweek or something, please reach out. We can get you the exact location. We'll probably, in the past, we've put together a web page that we've just sort of shared with everybody to say, hey, here's where the campsite is every week or every day of the week. We'll have to see if we can do that again. We've got a different website since the last time we did this. So, but we can share that information with everybody where the location is so that you can get there. We will have, do we have the banners still? Are we going to be able to put those out, kind of towards the edge of our campsite? You should see some Bikes to You banners. That'll help you know exactly where we're at.
And there's a couple of good things going for us on this. In Sergeant Bluff, to begin with, it's a very, very small community. We're literally about 4 blocks from the from the downtown entertainment food area where our charter is located. And the parking in Sergeant Bluff is almost across the street from our campsite. It is very, very close. So you wouldn't have to walk very far to get to our campsite. And then the second thing is that our campsite is within, I mean, it's the first right off of after getting off of the interstate from the south going into Sergeant Bluff. And like I said, Kyle will have maps that will send out that will have that exact location, so you know exactly where it is. You'll want to download those ahead of time, but you will have the exact location of that. Go ahead and let's see. I'm just going to answer a couple quick things. That how close is the tent services tents to the campers with Bikes to You? We're in the same campground. I mean, we are one and the same. We currently have just right at 100 people signed up, 55 in a bus, and about 40 that are going to meet us in Sergeant Bluff for just the full week of camping. There is camping that's available Friday night in Grinnell. We have a couple of homes that are within a block and a half of the bike shop, and there will be outdoor camping available there. Will Bikes to You have a bike repair shop available at the campsite? This year, we are not going to be a bicycle repair shop on the ride, although Tanner, who is my lead mechanic in the bike shop, is going to be doing serving on the charter crew, and he will have a full complement of tools and some basic repair parts. How many people are, okay, that was asked, how many people are chartering with us? And like I said, we're right out about 100. So we're a little fewer than we have been in the past, and we attribute that to the fact that we just have one bus that we were able to secure for this year, and that we got a little bit of a late start on kind of coming back to Grinnell, or coming back to RAGBRAI. how secure are our e-bikes at night while charging? So we are going to have a fairly quiet generator that is going to be running at night, and we'll hope to have your e-bikes charged by the time that we close down the charging station. But if not, we can help make some accommodations for that. You know, historically, theft has not been an issue on RAGBRAI. It really has not. Most people park their bikes near their tents, and that's kind of how we've done it. If you want to bring a small cable lock to lock your bike or what have you, you're sure welcome to that. And that's kind of the way that operates. We don't take any measures to secure anybody's bicycles with the charter. I mean, there's not a good solution for that, and it's really kind of a problem that doesn't exist per se.
There's 10,000 plus bicycles on RAGBRAI. The likelihood of, you know, and honestly, I think in my years on RAGBRAI, I've only heard of a handful of bikes disappearing. And that's, I mean, I've been doing this since 2002.
I don't think we've ever had somebody lose a bike on our charter, have we?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
So
our charging stations go down at what, 8 o'clock? Is that 8:30?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 8 o'clock.
So
on the security of it, our charging station is in our hospitality area. And so it seems like every other year, somebody accidentally walks away with a phone that they think is theirs, and they're back shortly thereafter because they typed in their code to unlock it, and they realize that they can't unlock it, and they realize they grabbed somebody else's phone, and they put it back on the charger, and they figure out where theirs is at, you know, on the charging station. But it's, you know, there are always people around the charging station because that's where we have the water and you know, the salties and whatnot. It's, you know, we really have not had an issue with phones being secure.
So you want to move on?
Sure. Riding. All of the bags that are left out at nightfall will be loaded on the front of the truck, and they will not be unloaded the following day. If you would like to, if you have a bag that you are not going to need in the morning, you are welcome to bring it to the truck. We will put it on the truck. We'll make sure that it's towards the front. But the reason we put bags that are left out away is because we don't want bags to get rained on overnight. So if you do have one that gets left out, we will put it away. Now, if it's left out next to your tent, we're not going to go wander around the campsite and grab them from the outside tents. But if they are where we set them for unloading of the truck, we're going to put them away. In the morning, please place your bag on the back of the semi truck. This just helps to expedite our staff getting things loaded, get things ready for the day. If bags start getting set down next to the truck, it just means that more people have to jump out of the truck to then put bags up in the truck and then hop over the bags to get back in the truck, and it just gets them to be a bit of a mess. So we will have water available in the morning. The charging station will not be available. Sports drink will not be available, and alcohol will not be available. So we pack all of that stuff up in the evening so that it's all ready to go in the morning. So we try to keep things moving as quickly as possible. The charging station, again, that goes back to, we don't want phones getting rained on. You know, they're expensive. So if a phone is left on that charging station, it will probably be in one of our vehicles. So please do not leave your phone there because it turns into a wild goose chase. And if it ends up in my vehicle, I leave at 5:30 in the morning. So your phone, if it gets left on the charging station and it ends up in my vehicle, it's going to be in the next town. So you don't want that to happen.
You want it in mine
Yeah.
because I'm the last to leave.
The semi truck does leave at 7:30 in the morning too.
Yep. That does not mean that you have to be out of the campsite at 7:30. But it does mean that your bags all need to be on the truck by 7:30. Yeah. So, and I know back when I was packing the truck, it was like, there was always, a handful of people that were just kind of, hanging out and trying to figure out where they're going to go get breakfast. And it's like, that's fine, but we are closing the doors to the truck and your bags need to be on it if they're getting to the next town. During the day, please drink plenty of water. It is going to be hot. It is usually the hottest week of the summer in Iowa. Please drink plenty of water. Also, make sure to have your nutritionals. Make sure you're drinking occasionally some sports drink, getting things that are salty. If you drink only water, you will also end up in trouble. So please take plenty of fluids. Take your time. We have a campsite ready for you. RAGBRAI is not a race. Craig has said it many times. We hope that you come and enjoy Iowa and get lost in amongst the scenery and the event as a whole. Safety, please ride right. That is for the safety of all of the riders. That is for the safety of other people on the road. Try it, it's good to, although if you're in the main pack, you're going to see people are going to be riding in the left-hand lane. That is really not advisable. Please ride right and communicate with the riders around you. If this is your first time of riding RAGBRAI, you're going to learn pretty quick how people are communicating with each other. You're going to hear people saying rider on when they are starting to ride, when they're coming from a standstill on the side. You're going to hear people yelling out stopping if they are deciding to hop off and go get Beekman's ice cream or something. This is unlike something that a lot, until you've ridden with 10,000 of your closest friends, it is unlike an experience that you've probably had. And in order to keep everybody safe, you really need to be very conscious about communicating with the riders around you. I know from the days that I've ridden that you can tell who the new riders are when all of a sudden they see some vendor on the side and they're slamming on the brakes and trying to make a hard right turn across the traffic, and it gets really dangerous. So make sure to communicate what you're doing and be aware of people around you. Eat lots of pie. Sorry, Craig, you're going to say something?
Well, I was going to reiterate that, so we have a lot of first-time RAGBRAIers on our charter this year that, are joining us. And I'm going to bring up just a couple of things. Historically, cyclists are kind of pacifists, and we don't like to be aggressive and what have you. And it in this scenario, it's really okay to yell out. I mean, that what you're doing. I mean, if you're stopping or you're on your right, coming onto the road. I mean, get used to saying what you're doing, because that will help. That will help with avoiding accidents. One of the things that probably not to scare anybody, but the center line cracks on Iowa highways can be quite large, and a relatively narrow road bike tire can get caught in there. And so if you're going to go out into that left lane, which is really not advisable, but we know happens, just be very, very conscious of the center line. Helmets, surprisingly, are not required on RAGBRAI, but I will tell you that if you ride RAGBRAI without a helmet, you won't go 5 miles without trying to stop and find one to buy, because people will heckle you off the road. It is, it's unlike just about anything I've ever seen. You're 7 miles to the first town, and that bike shop will have helmets if somehow you forget yours. But we certainly recommend that. Yes, there. And then someone asked about, are there tire pumps available? We have half a dozen floor pumps that are on the charter, and you can top your tires off every day if you like. So those are out every morning.
Yep.
Kyle, I'm gonna let you.
Okay.
Craig, did you see our roads closed to cars, or do we share the cars? So you want to talk a little bit about
yeah, the roads are absolutely open to all traffic in Iowa. Most Iowans are knowledgeable enough about RAGBRAI that they do not choose to drive the route in any fashion. Most of the people that we see driving the route are from out of state, and they're trying to support a rider that is on the ride, and that's a very foolish thing for them to do, because when you've got that many cyclists on the road, it is absolutely horrible to drive a vehicle on it. But you may see a hog truck or a farmer with his tractor and what have you on the road. I mean, folks have to carry on their life, and RAGBRAI has to accommodate that in some form. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of cars or trucks on the roads in general, but you cannot count on that.
Yeah. One of the, I think it's probably safe to say one of the RAGBRAI traditions is pie. There will probably be a lot of pie offered by different churches, and please support the churches and other organizations that have made lots of pie by eating lots of pie yourself.
eat the pie and do goat yoga. There's nothing.
There will be several opportunities for goat yoga this year, because we've talked about that. So
severe weather, being that it is the end of July in Iowa, it is possible for thunderstorms to happen. When it comes to in the overnight towns, I will be doing a lot of work with the overnight towns, with campground coordinators. I will know the emergency weather plan. If we have a problem, if we need to use that, I have it written down. I communicate that with the rest of the staff, and then we go through and we disseminate that information on a need to know basis. 90% of the time nobody needs to know it other than me. But there is that 10% where we have to do something. I know in Newton, we saw some weather coming in. I met with all of the staff and I said, okay, this is the building we're going to if we need to do this. As it got closer and closer, it was like, okay, it's kind of getting close to bedtime. All right, we went around, we communicated it with everybody and said, if we need to, we will tell you, here's where you're going. And then it did actually end up happening. And we swept from one side of the campsite to the other, just saying, everybody, you got to go this way. And we pointed everybody and everybody got in there. I did have to give a personal wake up call to Bill. I see you, Bill, on the meeting, but
and we do want to say one thing too. I mean, so far, all of the people on our charter that I know of are adults of age, and if you make a decision not to take advice to go to a shelter, that is your decision. But we want to give you the best information that we have in case of severe weather. and the best recommendations. We had a relatively dangerous situation many years ago in Sheldon, Iowa, and it really gave us a wake-up call to have a plan that at least matches the plan of the overnight communities. The overnight communities are required to have a severe weather plan. Some are better than others, but they have to have a plan for severe weather. So that's what my 2 cents are.
If you are out on the route, which can happen at times, I would, be aware of what's going on around you. And if something does come up, and you're in a town, they're probably going to have a plan, and they're going to say, they'll come out with bullhorns and tell you where to go. If you're in the middle of, the countryside and a storm pops up, you might need to go knock on the nearest farmhouse, and they'll probably invite you in. They'll probably feed you, and you'll probably end up on their Christmas card list. I think we've had a few people on the charter in the past that's happened too. So know that we have a campsite picked out for you. You do not need to worry about, racing to the next town. It is picked out. It is ready for you, and we will get you maps to those sometime in July when we have those finalized. I do a lot of work with the overnight towns in making sure that we have safe routes for the riders to get to the campsite and safe routes for our drivers to get there and leaving the next morning. So we will get those to you as soon as we can, but it'll be sometime in July.
And I want to address, historically, it's been within a week to 10 days ahead of the ride, because the communities are still trying to find out, what their route in and out of town looks like, and what road closures are happening within the town. And we don't want to route someone to our campground on a closed road. Now, I said roads weren't closed. Roads are closed often within communities in order to restrict traffic and traffic congestion. But we, I just wanted to say those maps will be coming. Don't get nervous, but it's probably going to be sometime 7 to 14 days out. Yeah. So, Chrissy, you want to go ahead?
Kyle.
You see that, Kyle?
The question?
Well, the question:
Well,
if a family member is dropping me off on Saturday, are they allowed to camp with me before going back home?
Sure. If they're going to sleep in your tent, yeah, that's fine.
Just make sure they're aware that they might get a wake-up call at 7 a.m. if they're not packing up their tent. I will start putting for getting from once you arrive in the last town, in the overnight town for the night. I will start putting signs up. I put a representation of that on the screen there. Make sure, so that'll be at the beginning of the town. Follow the signs that look like that. I do not ride super far out into the countryside. Some charters do that. If you start seeing other charter signs, just keep following the rider route. You will eventually start seeing my signs. If in doubt, keep following the rider route. I will post these signs every 1 to 2 blocks, depending on available places for me to put them. I have to put them on things that there's only so many places I can put them. We're not allowed to block actual highway signs. If it says stop, I'm not allowed to put it on the, I can put it on the pole, but I can't put it on the sign itself. There is one charter that has a slightly similar looking sign in that it's blue. It says BBC, that is Bob Brancel's charter. I am really good friends with Bob Brancel. He is a wonderful person. However, if you follow his signs, you're not going to get to our campsite. And he may or may not know where we are. So make sure you're following the ones that say B2U, not BBC. Yeah, if you don't see the signs, keep following the rider route. If there are any other signs that people have gotten confused by, you know, you can put that in the chat and we can mention those. But that's the main one. Questions about the daily riding?
Ooh, hold on just a second. What do we got here?
How do we differentiate the tents in the tent service? So we have numbers on all of the tents, and we keep them in numerical order.
Craig, you're on mute, I think.
Well,
oh, there.
we do not require that you set your tent up in a grid pattern. We're a little more relaxed than that. Our tent service tents will probably be in 2 rows at some place in our campground. That's how we've done it in the past. But beyond that, you can set your tent up anywhere within our campsite that you can find a space.
Yeah, so we'll keep them in numerical order. And I don't know, what do we have 30 tents sold, or
I'd have to look. We're probably in that neighborhood right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not going to be a sea of tent service tents so that you have to, you're not looking for, row 5 position Z.
Right.
Yes, thank you for the reminder about cell phone reception. You are going to be in rural Iowa, and eventually at some point, probably every day, you will not have cell service. There are towers all over the place, but eventually the towers just get overloaded. So make sure, you can't necessarily rely on your phone. US Cellular is definitely the best service provider. Verizon is a close second.
I was going to say
close second. It's second.
in the vehicle on doing the route a few weeks ago, I have Verizon for my cell service, and there were long stretches of time where I didn't have service, and we did not have the volume of RAGBRAI even in place. So Verizon's going to be a tough one in a lot of areas. There's been a couple other questions. Will you have any special accommodations on the big 100-mile-plus day, such as longer charging hours? Any special intel about that day? So I hesitate to address this just yet, but I am going to say that we're going to work on a meeting town support vehicle for just our charter service, and it will be. It's going to be a first come, first serve type of thing. We don't have unlimited capacity, but I can also tell you that 106-mile day, let's just do the easy math. If you ride 10 miles an hour without stops, you're going to be out there for over 10 hours. And it is a doable day for most RAGBRAIers. You're just going to have to take your time and do it. We're, like I said, we're working on a solution that's going to provide at least a moderate amount of support, and that I think is going to come from all charter services. But you should plan on riding the 100-mile day. There's really not a good option. You don't want to end up on a side vehicle, from RAGBRAI if you don't have to. Well, next question was, with tent service, do we get the same tent each night? Yes, you will be assigned a tent number and you will get the same tent each night. Yes. Okay, I answered those.
Something I just remembered that I forgot to put in the presentation is we do have a shower trailer. There are 4 men's stalls, 4 women's stalls. Typically, this means that the line for the men's is longer than the women's. But we run on 1,500. We have 2 1,500-gallon tanks that we run this trailer off of. This allows us to get into much smaller campsites, ones that are better positioned. We're not as far away from town. We're not, we don't necessarily have to only take a football field as a camping site. But it does mean that we have limited water. So we have the pull chain to get your water, similar to, if you remember the show MASH, they had to pull on the chain to get their water out of the shower. So that is to help with conserving that water. So pull the chain, get wet, soap up, pull the chain, get the soap off, because we have on occasion run out of water, and it's pretty unpleasant for the people that are in there when we have to shut it off because we run out and go get more.
And I think I think it's just good to say that we need to conserve, water. But I think with our numbers, we should probably end up we should be okay.
Right.
It's kind of interesting though that people have raved about the shower trailer over the years, even with the water conservation efforts that we kind of institute. So
we've taken a lot of different showers in RAGBRAI, and it's not a bad shower, and it's very convenient. So
yeah,
not checking off
in somebody's garden hose.
Right.
I used to do that.
A grain elevator.
Yep. With that, we do shut down the shower trailer at 8 o'clock. So that is so that we all can get it cleaned and get it buttoned up, and we can all sleep, because all of our staff have to be up and rearing to go by 5 or 5:30.
Kyle, do you think that we might have to make an accommodation on the 100-mile day to run that a little?
I think we probably will.
Say that.
Yeah, that will be a day where we will play it by ear and try and figure out. Please, we are going to hold it open longer because of that. Please don't dilly-dally, because we don't want tired people trying to drive large trailers the next day, but we also want to be accommodating to everybody to be able to get showered up at the end of the day.
There was a question about is tent service, is it too late to add tent service? We are currently standing at 23, and so we have tents available if you'd like to add that. The sooner we know, the better that we can staff for that. But there would be tents available under that number. Another question: do you bring your own towels and soap? Yes, please. We actually have some soap that is from an event recently, but you should bring what you know doesn't give you hives. Okay, Chrissy, anything, or Cal, anything else you can go on?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
Getting home. If you leave the ride before Lansing, please tell me. I have a checklist of who is supposed to be on the bus. Granted, if you're, if you have your own vehicle, this really pertains to people riding on the bus. If you're supposed to be on the bus and I don't know where you are on the last day, I will be frantically trying to call you. Which might mean that I have to go to the top of a bluff to go find cell service, and then I'll be calling you to find out where you're at. So please tell me so that I can cross you off the list if you leave early and you're supposed to be on the bus. The signage will start at the dip site. It will not be at the beginning of town on that day. I believe Lansing is bringing everybody in along the river, correct, Craig?
Yes.
And then they go to one of the main boat launches to dip, and then you come into town, and they are bringing you right up Main Street, which will bring you right to us. So, yeah, it should be pretty straightforward to get to us, but those signs will not start until the dip site, partially because there's just not a great way to route you, around the dip site in Lansing. There's not a lot of roads there. We were there, what, 5 years ago?
I think 4 years ago.
4 years ago? Yeah. Yeah.
Lansing has a unique plan to get us out of town on our way home, and they're going to line the buses on the highway going out of town. And we're going to get a known location of how far down that route we will be, but that's yet to come. We only have one bus this year, so we're only going to we'll only have one departure.
Oh, yeah.
We like to say that we've never, if somehow that Saturday turns out to be 99 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour headwind, we will make an adjustment on when the bus leaves. But we like to say that we've never left a sober person in the in-town. We go to great lengths to try to get everybody on the bus that is supposed to be. There was a question about shower availability at the in-town. Because Lansing is tiny, they have asked us not to bring our showers into Lansing, and they are going to offer showers just a stone's throw away from the dip site. So there are going to be showers there. It's just that there'll be the communities and for a fee, and that seems fair because the start and end towns don't see much revenue from other things. But that goes to say we will not have the shower trailer in Sergeant Bluff the night we get there. Yes, it will be a full day, of being there, but shower before you come, and then you can be grungy the next day. I'm sure there'll be showers someplace in Sergeant Bluff if you absolutely have to have one. But
I can talk to Pork Bellies about where they're at, and I can find out. They usually set up one of their shower trailers in the start town. And Bransel, I think Thunder Showers usually sets up one of his trailers.
We just in in the start town, it requires quite a bit more logistics to do that. It's usually a mess. Someone has asked a question: is there a way to confirm that they booked transportation? If your ticket says full week camping plus bus service, then you are on the bus. If it just says full week camping, there is no transportation with that, and we're assuming that we will meet you in Sergeant Bluff. So I'm going to follow up with the person that asked the question on that. But if you're in question, look at your ticket, because if it says full week camping plus bus service, that means you have transportation. If you just have full week camping, then that's what that you're going to join us in the start town and leave us in the end town. Someone asked if they're leaving their car in Grinnell, is the parking lot close to the bike shop? Yes, it is. It's about 2.5 blocks, and we would you can easily walk it. Historically, we've had a vehicle running back and forth that morning, and we will arrange that, but it might be quicker to walk.
I can talk to my dad again and see if he's willing to drive shuttle again.
Yeah.
We'll get some shuttles.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
If you are flying out, I know this is a very small group of people that this pertains to, but I will just go over this quickly. If you are flying out of at the end from Des Moines, please do not fly out on Saturday. It's just logistically, it's not feasible to get out that on Saturday. We will do a shuttle to Des Moines Saturday night for anybody that is leaving before their flight leaves before 8 a.m. If you are leaving after 8 a.m., you are welcome to stay in Grinnell, and we can take care of a shuttle to Des Moines on Sunday morning.
Craig, there's a question. Will you be able to tell me how to locate my bike transport from Sergeant Bluff?
So that's going to require some triangulation probably between our location and the bike transport back to Sergeant Bluff. There are shuttles that go from Lansing back to Sergeant Bluff. I'm not certain who all is operating those, but they would be on the RAGBRAI website. If you haven't arranged for transportation that way, probably want to look at that soon. The name of the vendor shipping bikes at the in-town is Harper's Cycling and Fitness is the vendor that's going to be boxing and shipping bikes from the in-town, and they will be located there. They'll have a special designation on the Lansing map as to where that's at. It will likely not be far from the dip site. They generally don't try to do that. What are the names? Let's see. Is there shuttles from Lansing to Sergeant Bluff? Yes, there is. At the start of the week, there are shuttles that go from Lansing to Sergeant Bluff, as well as ones that I think are at the end of the week. But if you're taking a shuttle from Lansing to Sergeant Bluff, you should make accommodations to park your vehicle in Lansing, and that is a function of the in town. We do not do those shuttles. It would be, Kyle, help me. I suppose Pork Belly has one. Does Bob Bransel do
Pork Belly
one?
does. Bob Bransel does. Out of Staters also
Out of
does.
Staters, yeah.
Pork Bellies, they are enormous, but I know that we have worked with them in the past to take care of moving people and stuff, and they do a really nice job with it. So
I know we have people already that are coming over on the Pork Belly, Lansing to Sergeant Bluff, and you know, my recollection is that we're about 4 blocks from their location, so
Okay.
it's not too far. They're at an elementary middle school in Sergeant Bluff, I believe, and we're not far from there. So the day of is a little congested, you know, and we can kind of handle things on an individual basis for folks coming in. John Benton asked, what's the numbers of RAGBRAI? What are the expected numbers? So I think it's, without disclosing too much that maybe isn't official, it's fair to say that they are back at pre-pandemic numbers. I think you're going to see on a daily basis in numbers that will be between 15 and 19,000 people registered. And we know that there are some people that are not registered. So we're going to be probably as big as we've been in a while. So
one thing that I want to circle back to, you know, if you are getting a ride from Lansing to Sergeant Bluff at the beginning of the week, make sure that you know what the process is that whoever's running that shuttle, they want you to use. I know that Pork Bellies has a pretty specific process for riders that are not with their group that are using the shuttle. And so there may be a specific table for you to go to, or there may be a specific tag that goes on your bike. And so make sure that you know what those specifics are before the day of, because some of these groups are so big that, you know, if you just walk up to a truck, the person on the truck may not know the specifics for non-members of their camping group. So make sure you communicate with them to know what the process is exactly.
if you have any further questions, you're certainly welcome to reach out to Kyle or Chrissy or myself. Kyle is the main, you know, he's our charter director, and you know, certainly the main contact for kind of from here on out. He does have a full-time regular job, so it may be it may be 11 o'clock at night before he gets back to you. But he can certainly answer just about any question. We certainly, like I said, we want to thank all of you for joining us. We're happy to be back involved with RAGBRAI. There's been some really positive changes that have happened in the last 6 months, and I have to say, I think we're all proud that we were part of helping affect some of that effect that change. Some scholar can tell me which one it is. Anyway, thanks again for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you in July.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
stop recording. Receive an email. Okay.